Hi, I'm Joe Foner,
And I'm Paul Hood.
and we are
Foner and Hood.
And this week we're reviewing The Iron Lady, which is about Margaret Thatcher, starring Meryl Streep and Jim Broadbent. Let's take a look at a clip.
Methinks the right honourable lady doth screech too much. And if she wants us to take her seriously, she must learn to calm down.
If the right honourable gentleman could perhaps attend more closely to what I am saying, rather than how I am saying it, he may receive a valuable education in spite of himself.
So you just saw a clip from The Iron Lady and Meryl Streep's Oscar-nominated portrayal of the former Prime Minister of Britain. In this scene, the particular scene, we get a good glimpse into what made her so special. She was able to stand up to a room full of men and kind of take control.
Yeah.
So, and that's what you need to do in the world of politics. I like the way the film, pretty much puts that in the forefront, along with showing her vulnerable side. So, what did you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good scene to encapsulate that. I mean, there's another scene when she first gets elected and she tries to break into the men's club, and this is largely symbolic. There's a room full of men and she can't get in.
Yeah.
And then she goes into the room with the ironing boards. Yes. But this is just as good because it's, she's really just like talking. She's trying to make her point heard, and all they want to do is crack jokes.
Yes.
And they're not really serious.
Yeah.
Not
There's a visual symbolism in there too, where all these men are wearing cold, like a harsh, dark gray colored suits, and she has on the powder blue suit. And it still has the softness to it, but it's still blue is like a color that kind of symbolizes respect in a matter of which.
It's an interesting scene in the middle of that film where she goes to the consultants. You get a feeling a little bit that she's like sold her soul to the devil almost, because there's like two guys sitting there with cigars, and it's like, we're going to make you do this, we're going to make you do that, but it's really you're giving the people what they want and you're letting them see the real you.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was interesting how they had the image of her kind of like in between these two men as they're talking to her, and it's her point of view.
She's still in between two men.
Yeah. So
and then there's that really cool scene where she's in a hallway, doing the voice coach thing, and you're like, what is this, the King's Speech all over again?
Yeah,
right?
It was just like, it was almost like a homage to the King's Speech, not exactly like they ripped it off, which I thought was kind of cool, and I found myself laughing, and I was like, I wonder if anyone else in the theater,
got that. I'm sure they did. Yeah, it's like
moment.
About a British leader. It's during a time of crisis, and I mean, let's pick that point up. One facet which I enjoyed about the film was the idea of Margaret Thatcher being confronted with this seemingly unwinnable crisis and being able to stick to her principles, which is something you don't see a lot today in politics.
Yes.
And she enunciates clearly what needs to be done, and she doesn't really seem to care what everybody else thinks. And these are some really good portrayals of her inner circle, quote unquote, of like mamby-pamby, wimpy advisors who just want to like stay the course, and she's like, no, I'm Margaret Thatcher, we're going to go my way, and that's what's going to get
my way or the highway.
Which
as a conservative, which it was almost like she kind of like broke the mold for the conservative viewpoint.
Right.
And let's talk about the construction of the film itself, as far as the non-linear, kind of highlight her younger days. This portion of the film kind of goes back into her younger years and shows her strong conviction and how she was molded to appreciate hard work, which I thought was a great moment in the film, and kind of like gave us a little bit of a glimpse into why she was so strong as far as
the bedrock,
working for the voice of the working class citizens in Britain.
Good old conservative philosophy like her father was spouting. One thing that I found interesting about the film was the juxtaposition not only of the time periods themselves, i.e., you get, when the film begins, you've got Margaret Thatcher in her pretty far into her dementia state, and then you have her flashing back to when times were better, and you see her as a young woman and working her way up through the party, and then you see her win the prime ministership, and then you get to see her making decisions, and she kind of evolves as a person. And then you have, actually at the current day, where she's kind of like gone up the mountain and come back down.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is where Meryl Streep really shines. Partly because it seems like a lot more challenging to play somebody who's in a state of dementia, especially she has to completely imagine Jim Broadbent's character. And I thought she did an amazing job of that.
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't put it past the theory or idea that Meryl Streep actually was in a room alone completely when, with no other source of to manipulate any, or
nothing to work off of.
Nothing to work off of. And she did that. But, that's just a theory. But being that she's such a great method actress, I wouldn't put it past her.
I mean, that's a pretty plausible scenario.
So that brings us into Jim Broadbent.
Just making his name known here, I think, for, he was in The Gangs of New York, and last year, if you saw it, Another Year, which I know not a lot of you saw, but he was really good in that. Yeah,
he was great in Another Year, so.
And he's, just a really good character actor, and I thought he did a really, really good job, solid job as her husband. You can see their relationship where, like, Margaret Thatcher is like the strong, steady one. Not that he's not steady, but
he's more of a support base. So he kind of like and it shows that their relationship had enough strength that he could fall back and kind of be just the.
They also had this playful give and take with each other. You can imagine like him doing stuff just to get a rise out of her, and then her like being. The solid, more respectable, dependable one, even though he is too.
Yeah. But, so the movie does well in showing the other side of Thatcher's life. So now what we're going to do is kind of talk about, each give a point on what we thought worked in the movie and perhaps what we thought didn't work.
What did we think about the movie?
So, what did you think, Joe?
I liked it.
Good and bad points?
I thought what worked really well was the juxtaposition between the current day dementia-ridden Margaret Thatcher and her rise to power. I thought that part of it was better than the flashbacks. I understand why they had to do both because you have to have that give and take, that contrast. Because if we saw a whole film of Margaret Thatcher, although it would be an interesting stage play, but if we saw a whole film of her in her current state, it'd be very big. Yeah,
it'd be more like a dramatic performance, rather than a movie.
Othello or a monologue. But like I thought that was more effectively rendered. The part that didn't work as well for me was when we go back to the flashbacks and things seem to get glossed over. Like you don't really get. Like, it took me a while to figure out that in the beginning they're telling her she's running for parliament. I didn't really catch that at the beginning, and how she got involved in the party to begin with. You don't really get that. You don't really get anything in depth until you get to the Falkland Islands part, where there she gets to show her, principled leadership. So I thought the flashbacks didn't work as well, and consequently, like if you had a whole series of those, it's more like a Hallmark movie of the week. Yeah. And not an Oscar-nominated performance. So. Yeah, so this is some good and bad points. But overall, I thought it was a really good film. Though.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film. I have to agree with the construction. As far as the flashbacks, it felt like there were things that I wanted more of. I wanted to see the young Margaret Thatcher really, become this woman that's going to end up.
You get glimpses of it.
Yeah, you only get glimpses. You don't get the full breadth of like. Why she became such a strong person and so steady with her convictions. So I kind of felt like that was a letdown. But overall, the performances in this film are what carry it and what make it remarkable. So I have to agree, and I'm going to say hands down, I think not Margaret Thatcher, but Meryl Streep.
Well, you would
she channeled her so much. Yeah. I was, I'm getting the name mixed up. I think she's going to win Best Actress.
Best Actress, right? Yeah. Anytime Meryl Streep steps in the ring for the Oscar, she's got a better shot than anybody else. So, I mean, I agree. I think she'll probably win. I'd have to think about more. I'd have to see all of the female performances to make that judgment. at this point, though. But yeah,
it's out of her and Michelle. Michelle Williams is great as Marilyn Monroe.
That would be my choice.
But
at this point.
I think Meryl Streep's performance was just so outstanding.
Right.
There's no one that can pretty much touch it this year.
So I think we're in agreement. Definitely go see this film. You won't be disappointed. And be sure to watch for this on Oscar night. Meryl Streep's up for Best Actress, and I think Best Makeup. The film was nominated for, so there's two. That's two.
Yes.
Academy Award nominations.
Go see this film now. It is here in the city, 250
Midtown
Raleigh Street
Cinema.
at Midtown Cinema.
Midtown Cinema.
Yes,
Go see
tell
it
them we
there.
sent you. You'll get absolutely nothing, but
Well, Kevin
get
will
to
be
see a good
happy.
movie.
We
Yes.
like Kevin happy.
so
And so this has been Foner and Hood's review of The Iron Lady.
yes, and be sure to catch Foner and Hood on the web, and also
On Facebook
check out
and
on Facebook and
YouTube.
check out the film clips with Paul Hood on penlive.com. And this has been Foner and Hood,
And we're out.
We're out.